Guys, welcome back to the shop. We're going to do a little inspection on the crankshaft for the TS250 today and just kind of evaluate what we're going to do there. But before we get going, I want to I've got a friend over in England, and he's got a new channel, and his name is Dean, and he goes by Retromeccanica. And I'll put a link in the description. I've done this once already, and just you know, go over and take a look at him. He's just getting going over there, and a real nice, real knowledgeable guy. I've talked to him by text quite a bit, and he's got a real good channel going on over there, and he's doing something that I was not even aware of. He's working on what they call BSA Bantams, and I was not aware that BSA ever made a two-stroke, and it is in fact a two-stroke. And Dean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was a 125, a 150, and a 175. Is that right? Anyhow, I was not even aware of it. And the other day, after talking with Dean, the other day I was up in the middle of Montana picking up the frame for the new project, the new Yamaha MX project. And lo and behold, there was one sitting right there. I had never seen one in the wild before, and right now Dean is making a alignment fixture. He's getting ready to tear the crankshaft apart on the one he's working on. And I believe there's another man in Australia, Tony Farmer, and he's working on them also. So you might want to take a look at his too. I'll leave a link for him also. And I find it fascinating that I think these were, well, I think they started in the 40s. I'm not sure on that. But they've been around for a long time. You know, when I used to think of BSAs, I always heard of the 650 and the Trident and all those, or Trident probably is Triumph. But BSA had a triple also. All big four-stroke, big motors. And I think the smallest BSA I ever knew of was the 441 Victor. I think that was the BSA. I'm just not up to my English bikes, but I thought that was probably the smallest one they ever made, and it was big. So go over there and take a look at Dean's channel and Tony Farmer also, and give him a subscription, give him a thumbs up, help him get going over there. So let's get on with our project here on the TS250 crankshaft. Okay, I've got this set between centers, and we're just going to take a look at what we have. The first thing I'm going to do is check the shake, and they tell you to hold, let's see here, I don't think you can see all the way down there. They tell you to hold it so that this can't slide over like this. You know, this is your lateral movement here. So they just want you to hold that with your finger so that it can't move over, and or you know, to move it to one side. That's what I'm doing. And we'll zero our dial indicator out and then push it to the other side. Okay, we're all the way over to the right there, and that's to the left. So we've got about 32 thousandths, and they tell you that you should be between 20 and 32 thousandths with a maximum of 0.12, which is, we've got a long way to go to get 0.12. So as far as the shake goes, I have to say it's acceptable. It's more than acceptable. I guess our next thing we need to look at is the runout. Let me change my tip here. Let me get this kind of situated here. Okay, I've got a dial indicator on both sides and got them fairly zeroed out. And then we'll just spin the crankshaft. And it's almost zero. On the flywheel side, I've got maybe a half thou. And on the clutch side, it's less than that, maybe a quarter thou, if that. So this crankshaft is looking really good. Those are the only two criteria that they have you check, and it's this, this back and forth, what they call the shake, and then the run out on the bearing journals. And it's well within specs, and I can find no problem with the upper bearing or anything, or upper bearing journal or anything else with the crankshaft. So I have to say that it's acceptable. It's well within limits in both areas. And I went back and I looked at the TC125. The criteria on it is almost identical to this on the TS250. So I'd say we better just use it. I can't see any point or any gain in taking it apart and replacing parts when it just all the indications say it's okay and well within being okay. So I think that's where we're going to go. We're just going to clean it up good and lubricate it and put it back in. Okay guys, I want to show you my setup here for filming overhead. I had mentioned in a video earlier that what I was doing was I had it with one of these hooked up like this, and what it would do, it would be backwards, and I just thought that was really going to be weird. But now I've got this so that I can mount it up above it and it'll be straight onto it. So I'm going to do a short clip on this one with the overhead and just see how it is, and you guys give me some feedback on that, how you like it. And I think it'll be a lot better for bench work, so that way I won't be in, the tripod won't be in my way all the time. Anyhow, right now we're gonna get ready to put the crankshaft back in, and what I want to do is kind of go over getting that thing ready. Okay, got you a little closer here. I've got it all clean, and all I've got to do is lubricate it and kind of assemble it here. I've got to get the oil retainer on, and since I'm reusing the one I had, there's no breaks or cracks or anything in it. I just want to tell you that you can take a punch like this and just kind of roll it around the edges of these holes, and it'll open them back up so that it'll have a snug fit in here again. And along with that, I put a little Loctite on each one of them. Just to hold them in there. I've already got them, I think, where they're going to be a interference fit. Yep. Okay, let me get a bigger punch. And then you just need to kind of work it down in there, just a little at a time. There. Okay, we've got that seated, and then we want to remember our spacer goes right down onto that. Nothing on the other side. And I'm going to shoot a little oil into the seal on the magneto side. And on the crankshaft, I'm going to use assembly lube and flow that down into the slots and along the side. It's thicker and it'll stay there. A lot of people like to use whatever oil that they're going to use in the engine, you know, being it CCI or Yamalube or whatever you're going to do. But the thing is it's thin. This thing may not get put together and started for, you know, months. And if you put just motor oil in there, it's just going to run out. It's going to be laying down here in the bottom of the engine. And the same with the main bearing. It's the same way. If I put assembly lube in here and work it in, it's going to stay on every part that's in there. Yes, some will drip down, but it will stay. That's what they use on automotive engines when they build them, and sometimes those aren't started for years, you know, in the rebuild shops. So that's what I use, because as soon as oil and gas is introduced into here, then it's going to start melting away this heavier lube, and it's going to be fine. But I'm just always scared of it not having enough lube after setting for any time. And with the assembly lube, it is. It's going to have enough to start. It's never going to be dry. Anyhow, I'm going to get you up on the new stand, and we'll just see how that works. Again, assembly lube's what I'm going to use in the bearing. and just work it in, make sure everything's coated. Now I wouldn't use assembly lube on the seal. I think it's too thick for that, and it may actually stick to the seal and cause a problem there. So always use motor oil on that, and you can use whatever you want. Now I'm going to set this back down, see if I can keep you in view here. And we've got all our parts on the crankshaft, and I'm going to just put a little oil on the bearing journal, the seal journal, right here. And we've got the shim and the oil retainer, and we just drop it right in. Now I'm going to give it just a little tap with my plastic hammer. There it is. Everything should be good. Yep, it's all the way down. And I want to just kind of turn this around so I can take a peek at that seal. Yep, looks good. Looks good. All right, so crankshaft's in, transmission's loaded, and I'm going to cover this up, and in the next video we'll start putting it back together. Get the other side cover on. Now I want to address one thing that I mentioned in the previous video. When I was talking about the screw that goes in here with the spring on it, and it goes in like this. Well, I had this case sitting like that, not like this. So if you do it like I was saying, it's backwards. So with it sitting like this, the detent is going to go this way. So when you're loading the barrel and the transmission and all this stuff, your detent should be right here, not over here. Okay? It works out either way, but it makes it, everything is better if you've got the detent where it's going to, otherwise neutral. You want it to be installed in neutral. So your detent should be right here. That's how it comes into the case here. So I just wanted to clarify that because I was thinking about that later, and I said, you know, I had that case stuck up the other way, and that would have been going the opposite way. But as long as you can get your followers in, your shift forks, you're good to go. So just wanted to clarify that. Okay guys, we'll call this a wrap on this video. I know everybody was probably kind of disappointed that we didn't have to rebuild that crankshaft, but I just can't see throwing money into something that's fine. And like I said before, I don't know how long it was ran with an inadequate air cleaner, but it doesn't seem to be harmed any as far as the crankshaft goes. So, you know, the facts are the facts. Everything is in acceptable limits, and in most part in better than acceptable limits. So we've cleaned it up good, blowed it out with compressed air good, and lubricated it and installed it. We will be rebuilding another crankshaft. You know that The one that came out of the TC125 was really toast. So that one will be on the agenda soon. So we will get to do another one. It's just not going to be the TS250. It's identical. It's just bigger. And yeah, it's stuck into the, it's pressed in harder, and it would make a whole heck of a lot more noise popping out and popping back in. I was kind of looking forward to it myself, but it's just not the right thing to do, just to throw money at it when it doesn't need it. So we'll press on with this engine, get it put together, then we'll start on the TC125 and get it going. But in the meantime, let me know what you think about the overhead on the bench. And I may have had it a little close. I can move it up and down quite a bit, so that's not a problem. But I think it'll give you a real good look at what's going on, and it keeps the tripod out of my way. On the other hand, please go over and take a look at Dean's channel and Tony Farmer's, and I'll leave links down in the description. And you know, I was totally unaware that BSA ever made a small two-stroke, and not only was I talking about it, but I went up for an unrelated thing really and saw one sitting there in the wild. So I'm impressed. I'm impressed with what these guys are doing with these small British bikes. So go over and give them a little love, give them a thumbs up, and same with me. Hey, if you're on for the first time, take a look at my stuff, give me a thumbs up, subscription if you want to, and it would be really appreciated, and that will keep us in the algorithms so that we can put out more videos and more content for you folks to watch. And I guess we'll just call it a wrap right there, and I appreciate you going along on the ride. See you next video.